My name is Tracy Cook and welcome to the podcast series Victim to Victory. This series gives a voice to those that have overcome obstacles in all forms, that dare greatly to share their real stories. Amazing humans that have seen hope and risen above those adversities to become victorious, that now support and inspire others to do the same. And today we are giving a voice to Leticia. She is in the UK. She is a world changer. And before we bring her on, I just want to share a little bit about her before she gets into her story. And she has a saying on her website. And this really spoke to me. And I really want you to just sit in this space for just a moment and hear these impactful words, because I think this encompasses all of her brand, who she is and how she's helping the world. Walk as if every step you take will create an avalanche. She's a coach. She is a speaker. She is a motivator. She's a thought leader and an inspirator and motivator to many. Leticia, welcome to Victim to Victory.
Thank you for that introduction and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. We love changes here. We like thought leaders. We love inspirers. We love motivators and we love giving them a voice. Leticia, who are you and where does your story start?
As you said, I am a mindset coach, and my story started in the humble island of Bermuda, where I was born and raised. And my story is, when I was 7 years old, I was told that my birth was the reason for my parents' divorce. And that was a very heavy burden to carry. I spent years after that looking for attention, looking for love, because I grew up in between two family units. My mom had a family unit with her husband who wanted nothing to do with me. My father had his family unit with his wife who wanted nothing to do with me. And as I grew up, a narrative that was very prominent for me was that I was too loud, I was too opinionated, I had too much attitude, and I was too smart for my own good. And I was left always feeling low because I had this huge personality, which I describe as a hurricane, a self-contained hurricane, huge personality, and I wasn't accepted for it. By the time I was 14, looking for attention, looking for love, looking for unconditional acceptance, I entered into a relationship with a man that was twice my age. And that was an abusive relationship. I was abused for the first time just before I was 16. And I knew that that wasn't the relationship that I wanted to be in. And I left. I ended the relationship. But because the relationship with my parents was so contentious, I eventually got kicked out of my home. I received a letter from my mom's lawyer stating that I was no longer allowed on her property. And if I returned, I'll be removed by the police. And I was still a minor. I was 17 years old. So where was I going to go? And if you can imagine, if you have a horrible relationship in your teenage years, most people chalk it up to you. It's you. You are the problem. So I didn't really have a family support once I was kicked out. And the only choice that I had was to call this man that had already abused me. I called him and he took me in. And the abuse that I experienced after that was horrific. The relationship went on. I married him at 19. And at 21, 22, he stabbed me. And that for me was an eye-opener. I had spent years defending this relationship. I had spent years painting a pretty picture because most people didn't understand the age difference. And now I am in a place where, for the first time in my life, I was truly alone. I've left this abusive marriage. I'm living in a homeless shelter. And I had to learn how to define myself. My identity to this point had been aligned with my interpersonal relationships. So I had identified myself as somebody's child or someone's girlfriend and wife. And I'm leaving this relationship trying to figure out life on my own because I was truly alone. And I was slightly delusional, if I'm honest. I thought walking away would solve my problems, but it didn't. I was left with shame, guilt, because actually I blamed myself for the end of my marriage. You know, I walked away from my marriage, even though it was abusive. And I was still hearing that narrative, you know, you're too loud, you're too opinionated, you got too much attitude. So no matter what I did, I always felt out of place because I was looking for validation from others. And that need for validation led me down a very dark path. So yes, I spent 8 or 9 years in an abusive relationship, but my life didn't get any better after that because I didn't like myself. I didn't know who I was, and I didn't trust the decisions that I was making for myself. My journey to healing included relationships with married men, relationships with addicts, and one of the relationships with an addict landed me in jail. I was arrested on my job, and that was my lowest point, not being stabbed by my husband, but being arrested because I had spent time as a law enforcement officer. I was a person, I upheld the law. And being in that situation where someone else's actions were the reason why I was behind bars really had me reflecting. And I remember calling my mom and telling her she needs to get me a lawyer. And instead of her getting a lawyer, she brought her mom down to the jailhouse, right? And I'm thankful for that because that day she sat behind that glass talking to me through a phone and she asked me a question. She said, "Why do you love everyone else more than you love yourself?" And that was a Mike Tyson body blow.
For sure.
If I hadn't been given that dose of reality, I don't know what would have changed my life around. Leaving jail, I was never charged. I was never prosecuted. But leaving jail, I got in contact with a coach that I had come across trying to get one of my addict boyfriend's help. And I reached out to her and I said, I'm ready. I'm ready to change my life because I realized that although my actions weren't the reason why I was arrested on my job, my decisions were the reason why I was there. Everything that I had decided in life got me to that moment. And working with a coach really helped me to realize that I was sitting in what I call victimhood. Life was happening to me. Woe is me. I have no control over that. She taught me that being a victim was giving away my power. She showed me that although we don't have control over everything, taking control of myself, taking control of my beliefs and my thoughts and my actions is what helps shape the world that I live in. And that changed my life. The coaching helped me realize that although the experiences that I had experienced, homelessness, abuse, abandonment by parents, all of that made me a survivor. And while society glorifies a survivor, that isn't the final stop. That isn't our final destination. It is up to us to then heal from our experiences. And our healing is what allows us to move from survivor to thriver. And as a result of that coaching relationship, I decided to start over. I left Bermuda and I moved to England. I spent years building my career, building a name for myself. But one thing that kept coming up for me was that narrative that I'm too much. I was working in a white male dominated industry as a foreign Black woman. And I heard all the time, you got too much attitude. You're too smart for your own good. And it triggered me. And after years of hearing that as a manager, being in a position where I'm managing a multinational team and not being able to make decisions, I decided that I was worth more than that. And I saw it like I was seeking fulfillment. Like, you have a great job, but that wasn't me. I truly believe that we are all here to make an impact on this earth, which is why that quote is so significant that you spoke about earlier, making avalanches. And I believe that the reason why most of us don't make an impact is because of the belief systems that we hold, the way that we think, the limits that we put on ourselves because of the narratives that we hold. And I was reminded about how much my life changed working with a coach. And I decided to become a coach too. I walked away from a 14-year career because I'm passionate about helping women get their mind right, as I like to say. If you get your mind right, the world opens up for you. And now, my days look like really, truly giving other women the opportunity to change the path that they are on. And it's brought me so much joy to be able to teach people how to take their test and turn it into a testimony, take their mess and turn it into a message, and embrace their story so that it can be inspiration to others. I don't believe that we are here to be islands, solo, operating solo. I believe my mission is in life is to help heal women, because I believe that if we can heal the women of the world, we can heal the world, because women's are mothers. They are natural nurturers in any relationship that they are in, and they are our true way forward. If we can heal the narratives that women are carrying, then we can change the narratives that their children have and the generations to come here. So my impact is helping others see that they are here to make an impact.
I love it how you actually said, if we heal the women, we heal the world. And I just know that there would be so many women listening to this, really needing that message, really holding on to that hope, or looking for that flicker of hope to think, you know what? I'm going to embrace my story. I'm going to embrace being loud and not thinking of it as a negative. I'm going to embrace being too much and flipping that narrative and really embracing who they are. And I know with your powerful words of healing women, and we are natural nurturers. And it doesn't matter which relationship we're in, we are natural nurturers. So thank you so much for sharing those insights and really embracing your story, Leticia, because your story, wow, you have been through so much, and yet you're still sitting here with your beautiful smile, impacting and empowering and inspiring other women on their path, on their journey, to find out who they are as part of your coaching and just as part of you as a human that's being the change in the world. And I think your message is really going to hit home with so many people. And
Thank you.
Where can people find you, Leticia?
I spend a lot of time on Instagram, and my handle on Instagram is Black Rose Coaching. Black is spelled Blaque. It's actually my nickname. So yes, Black Rose Coaching or blackrosecoaching.com.
That is absolutely fantastic. Your story is powerful, and I really appreciate you being so brave to share that as well. And I bet every time you share that, it probably doesn't get easier each time, but the message, is to serve other people and unlock their key to success. And what kind of message would you like to leave our audience on today?
Well, you touched on it a little bit. My fulfillment came when I learned to embrace the parts of me that made other people uncomfortable. So I turned my too muchness into service, right? And I think the most important thing to do in life is learn how to know, trust, and accept yourself. The core of my business is really understanding how to embrace your flaws. I call them your thorns, right? Because that is what makes you unique in this world. So learn how to know, trust, and accept yourself so that you can fully step into your power.
Thank you so much. And thank you very much for being brave to share your story. We'll be sharing where to actually connect with Leticia as well. You are appreciated. I'm so glad you're so much, and I'm so glad that you're you. You can find the Victim to Victory podcast series on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and our Facebook group. Please subscribe, share, and comment to help be the change that the world needs, just like Leticia Francis is doing as well. And let me leave you all with a message of step into your story, figure out who you are, and do it on purpose. Thank you. Bye for now.